Hello and good evening, wonderful viewers, wherever you are. Welcome back to another edition of your favorite sports on TV. That is Sport 360 Live on Atlantic TV every Sunday from the hour 8 to 9 o'clock. And I'm Big Sam International. And of course, once again, a reminder that we are located in the West Coast region side of Gambia, as we call it, the little Gambia, the Smiling Coast, and our studios here in Farato, West Coast region. Another edition of Sport 360, and of course today we'll get the best again. But like I said, always under the screen you can see we still sponsors invited. Come to the studio, talk to us, and then we'll bring you the best of wherever you need. Another episode, and today I'm once again very happy to host another person or another media guy in sports for that matter, and no other than Parliament Fati. When you talk about Parliament Fati, everybody remember LSTV1, Gambia's numero uno sports TV in the Gambia. But before then, Pa Fati, welcome, and Ramadan Kareem.
Ramadan Kareem, Big Sam. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. When I received the information that I should appear on this program, it was definitely a great news. And I was like, I can't just wait to be on this platform to talk to my very own, I call you the colleague, brother, and mentor.
Thank you.
In Big Sam. So Big Sam, is definitely a pleasure to appear on this very special program. And then special thanks to whosoever connected us to make sure we are here this evening.
Thank you very much, Pa. From there you get it from. That is Parliament Fati of LSTV1. And of course, it's Sport 360 Live on Atlantic TV, the home of TV Revolution. I'm Big Sam, and once again, my guest is Parliament Fati, commonly called Pa Fati, LSTV1. Well, moving on, everybody, when they say LSTV1, we know Pa Fati, everybody said the commentator. But actually, Pa, can you tell my viewers, who is Parliament Fati? Tell us a little bit about Pa.
Big Sam, yeah, sometimes it's very difficult to talk about myself, but I will give it a little try. I am Parliament Fati, born and raised in a community of Nyofele in Combo South, West Coast region. I attended Nyofele Primary School. From Nyofele Primary School, I moved to Brikama Upper Basic School, formerly of Alpha Khan. Then from there, I advanced to Muslim Senior Secondary School, where I completed my secondary school education before moving to some of the tertiary institutions. I attended Jollof Tutors, where I did business studies before moving to Majak to do my certificate in journalism. This is a little about Parliament Fati.
Well, there you go. So that is the great Parliament Fati. Of course, I think that's a good synopsis of Parliament Fati. Many people know Pa, when the breakthrough comes is from the media, and we know you start somewhere from before sports. But actually, when did you have this interest in media or journalism in general?
Big Sam, I can strictly tell you that becoming a journalist was never part of me when I was going to school. After finishing school, I was very passionate about Sadio Barrow. I could remember. You know, I just loved the way he interprets news, interpreting news from English to the local language.
Side translation.
So after completing school, I was like, I want to become a footballer. I started playing football, played in Nawetan, and then said, I think football is part of my hobby, so I think I need to give it a try. But unfortunately, I could not excel, you know, due to some other commitments. So I could remember when I was back in the community, in the village, we have this WhatsApp group where most of the times people come and then have audio. So there was a congress, a village congress, where we had somebody who was talking to the attendees in English. So I took it upon myself. I said I have to come here and then have some translation, like from English to the local language. So when I did that, I could remember one of my elder brothers said, Pa, I think you could be the next Gambia Sadio Barrow, because you are able to get us the translation from English to the local language. And he gave me a lot of commendations, yes, in the WhatsApp group. So this was when I said, yes, I think I need to give it a try. So sometimes I would just get to my own house, record myself, and start to see how progressive I am. So I could remember one of the days I said, but I think I admire Keba Kamara. as a local news presenter. And then, when Keba was having that local news. So I could remember, I said one day, this was in 2019, I said, let me contact Keba for a possible chance to have the chance of working with him. So when I contacted Keba, I could remember when I said, Keba, this is what I want to do. He said, okay, call me this particular day. I called him and then he said, call me this particular day. So until one day in 2019, during the COVID period, he said, Pa, I want us to meet. So when I met, I can still remember, I met him in Lamen. So he said, I want to give you an assignment. This assignment is go home, interview 2 people about the COVID-19. I can still remember. I interviewed our Imam in Nyofele and one individual in Nyofele. So when I brought these 2 audios to Keba Kamara, he just listened to the audios. He said, Pa, I am giving you an assignment. You have to go to Basse to cover this particular event for me. I can't just wait to be in Basse at the time. So at some point, Keba said, Pa, Basse is too far. I said, no, I want to give it a try. So when I went to Basse, I came back. I sent you the report. That was on Sunday. We spent the entire weekend. When I came on Sunday, he said, Pa, I am going to call you during the news tomorrow. Big Sam, I wasn't comfortable. I was like, this is going to be my first day, bringing my news on a platform that is listened to by the entire
everybody is listening.
So it was like, I had that little bit of panic and I said, okay, I think I need to give this a try. So I can still remember, when I gave my report, Keba Kamara, I had him in the background saying, and he is not yet a journalist. He is just a practicing journalist. So that gave me the motivation, the confidence to push this. So initially, I was never into sports, I was like, into politics, and then I covered a lot of events for Keba Kamara, reporting for him as well. So I did that briefly before getting into contact with LSTV. I know we're going to talk about LSTV in detail. So basically that was the beginning of me. This was how I started. So I got the intention, I got the belief that this is what I want to do, and I want to make sure I reach the highest echelon as far as the field is concerned. So I think I am very much passionate about the field now. Exactly.
Yeah, most definitely. One way or other, we all get it from somebody or somehow.
Exactly.
You talked about us, the likes of BMJ become the godfather, Radio 1 FM, and then to the sports, Peter Gomez find us doing something. It's easy. Somebody find you doing something and push you. Then you were standing waiting for somebody. So that's an advice to the youths. If you want to do something, make a try. I mean, if you can fall many times, fall, but pick yourself up. And then the most important message is let someone find you moving, not stagnant at a place. It's very hard to move you, but when you're moving, it's easy to like my guy will always tell me, if you are shooting, shoot the moon. I mean, keep shooting the moon. If you fall short, you fall on a star and you become a star. So that's something for you. Okay, let's talk about sports in general. How does that come? Because I once saw a conversation, I think Keba again was telling somebody in Manika, I'll be party I'll be political because sports, So, so when does the sports stop coming to you, Pa? I know you have been a player, like you said, the viewers, but as a sports journalist.
Big Sam, sports has been a turning point for me. During my time with Keba Kamara, I had the biggest ambition of becoming one of the biggest when it comes to the political journalists in the country, because I want to surpass him as an individual and also as far as the field is concerned. But I think I came to notice of LSTV1, this was sometime around 2020 to 2021. I could remember I had a friend who once called me and said, Pa, I am working with LSTV1 and they are currently in need of somebody who will be getting them stories and then be publishing them, and they're going to pay the individual per story. I said, yes, I think I can do that. So I started that with LSTV1. All of a sudden, my boss, of course, our proprietors are in Texas, in America. So I could remember one day, Ibrahim Senghor, IPS, contacted me and said, Pa, we want to give you a special program, a political program. At the time, Big Sam, I can vividly remember, I never hosted a political program. And he said, we want you to host a special political program where you're going to invite the country's topmost politicians. I said, yes, I want to give it a try. But the girl who contacted me, Fatmata Jawara, I can still remember. I said, Fatmata, I want us to do this program together. But then, because then I never had an idea as to how to run a special program.
For yourself.
So, but if my boss said, Pa, we want you to do this solo. We don't want you to join Fatmata because we never wanted Fatmata. Fatmata has been the face of LSTV1. She was hosting every program, so we want you to also run your own program. I said, okay, I should give it a try. I can vividly remember with Amadou Jallo, I invited Amadou to be my co-host, and the first politician that we had on that platform was Duruja of APRC, and that was a recorded program. So we recorded the program, and then it was like when the program was played, we had that once, twice, and the third time, all of a sudden my boss contacted me and said, Pa, we believe you are now okay, you are very comfortable, we can go in for live programs. This was how I started live programs, and I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of politicians in the Gambia, not only those at the base, but top class politicians in the country. At the time, I was very much addicted to hosting programs where we invite politicians to come and then talk about politics. I was definitely attached to that. So coming into sports, it was like a boom for me. It was like my boss said, Pa, we have been doing politics, we've been doing politics. Why not we also give sports a try?
A try. Okay.
So he said we have to start covering matches, live matches. At the time, I had no idea. I never had the opportunity to cover or have a live broadcast as far as live football matches are concerned. Exactly. So I said I have to give it a try. But the first question that lingers in my mind was, what am I going to say? How do I even go by this?
Exactly.
These were some of the things that I keep asking myself. It's going to be very difficult to remember which of the games I covered first.
Yeah.
But I think these were the West Coast Zonal games and also some Brikama Soma Nawetan games. But I think the turning point was the 2022-23 Brikama Soma Nawetan when we started covering Nawetan games. It was like, when we started, we thought we wouldn't be able to do it, but when we started, we received contacts from almost every club in Brikama, every Nawetan club in Brikama. Exactly. This was how we also came into contact with West Coast Zonal Committee. I could remember, I have to give that very big tap on his back. Sergio Ganzo, he said, you have to come and start covering our matches with the support of Big Sam and every individual in the committee. So I think that was definitely the turning point. I never had the idea. I was never trained as to how we go about as far as live match coverages and commentaries are concerned. We just started it and then keep improving by the day. And then, alhamdulillah, now we are a bit comfortable. Of course, we want to reach the highest echelon, and then we will keep pushing it, and we will keep pushing. But I think we have a lot of rooms to improve, of course. But I think it was definitely a turning point for me. A lot of people never come into contact with PA, or through sports and football commentary. I came into contact with a lot of Gambians, not even at home, but those in the diaspora. I am now into contact with a lot of people due to my live commentaries. And thank God now, a lot of Gambians are having trust on LSTV1 to cover most of their games as far as Nawetan and first, second, and even third division is concerned.
Wow, so there is it. I mean, most of us, in fact, let me say most of us, you know, and LSTV through sports. Your current work, which is LSTV, I mean, what is your day-to-day work? Let's be a little bit kind of a little bit sport bias here. Yeah. In terms of sport, let's try to focus that. Yeah. In terms of sports at LSTV1, what is your day-to-day assignment or your day-to-day work?
Yes, when we were starting at LSTV, I was only contacted to be there as a reporter and also a host of a particular program. But along the way, we had a lot of people that came and gone. So now my role at LSTV1 is I am the country director and also responsible for all the programmings as far as LSTV1 is concerned. Though it's a very small number, myself, Osman, Nima, and Kemo partly, because Kemo is also working with another outlet. But when it comes to live coverage and commentaries, he's part of us. And my activities at LSTV is just to make sure we have the smooth running and the day-to-day running of the network in the Gambia. So I can tell you that I am the country director and also responsible for every running as far as the TV is concerned.
A little bit before we go to Gambian football, LSTV1, anywhere there is sports, you guys are there and you will stream. Even we once again thank you. Even our last, before the boys go for the AFCON World Cup qualifier, we have this iftar with the coach. We can say you guys are there and it was live. Tell us a little bit about that. Wherever sports is, LSTV is, and then you are not going to wait for people to record over, you will come in live.
Yes, I think I have to give that very big tap on the shoulder of my team, right from our bosses based in Texas, Ibs and the wife, Njeme, and my very own team here back in the Gambia. And I think I have to comment Osman, our camera operator. He is super intelligent, he is very good, and he also has the passion for the job.
Yeah.
Osman is very passionate about his job, and he is ready to go extra mile to make sure the best of coverages are given to LSTV1. So most of the times, like, there is that trust between us and the footballing fraternity in the Gambia, most especially, let me say sports, most especially football. So most of the times, during football matches, most especially big football events, they will tell you, of course, we are not the best, we are just trying to be the best. And then we've started this when maybe some other people were in there, they have not yet started. So this is why I think we were able to get a firm footing. People were able to recognize us. This is why most of the times when they have bigger events, they will contact LSTV1. Why can't you come and then stream our events? I could remember we covered a lot of football finals in the Gambia at the Boxbar Mini Stadium and also other venues. And we've also crisscrossed other venues, like we've also gone as far as CRR, URR, and other parts of the country. And still now people are still having the trust in us to make sure when they have bigger events, they will contact us. And you know what we believe in is very challenging, like to record and then go back to the studio again and air. So if we have the facility and also having the network, I think the best of things that we can do is every event we get to, we want to make sure we bring it live so that people will have the opportunity to watch the event live rather than recording it and then playing it after. So that is the belief. We just always want to make sure the best is given to the people, and then is given to the people at the very right moment.
As for real, you have a studio. If yes, where is LSTV located?
Yes, we were having a studio in Lamin Kerewan.
Yeah.
Lamin Kerewan, of course, but the studio is now moved to our very own home because we have a residence in Lamin Kerewan.
Okay.
The plan was to get the studio in Lamin Kerewan, but also the distance is also our biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like having the studio in Lamin Kerewan and getting people to get to Lamin Kerewan is sometimes very difficult.
Yeah.
So this was why access is very challenging. So the plan was to have the studio in Brikama, but at the time it was a bit cagey, it was a bit difficult. So now we have now moved the studio from our main studio to our very own residence. But now we are planning to have our own studio in Brikama where people have access to LSTV1, because we believe Brikama, you know, it's a center. So you can easily have access to LSTV. When you have the chance to invite people can have the access to come there without any struggles. But getting the studio in Lamin Kerewan, which is very far, sometimes is a challenge. When we were having the studio and I was hosting political programs, many of my guests will tell me, "Pa, this place is too far," but they have to endeavor to be there. But what we can say for now is the studio is now moved from Lamin Kerewan to our main residence, but we are also having plans to make sure we have a site in Brikama where we will surely have our base. When we have events, we can easily move. Yeah.
All right, let's now talk about sport, because this is Sport 360.
Yeah.
What can you tell us, Pa, as a sports journalist and then covering sport, Gambian sports in general?
Yeah, Big Sam, I think it is very interesting, and I just love being on grounds. Let me tell you, I just came into this beautiful game of football, but I just love the game. You know, sometimes when I leave home, my parents, my stepdad and my stepmom will always tell you, it is hardly for my people to have that lengthy period together due to my commitment sometimes. Sometimes, most of the times I leave home very early, and I also I come home very late. But most of the times, whenever I reach home, I have to make sure brew attire for my stepdad, because he's my everything. I'll be home, brew attire for him, and even every day he has to make sure, call and check on me, how am I doing, and then where and how am I. So I think sports in general, I just love it. So Gambian sports, right from the grassroots, and I believe the grassroots is the most interesting. You go to grassroots football, you have everything that sports can give you, the ambience, the love, the enthusiasm, and all that not. You can have that in the local sports. This is why I tend to love the local sports than even first, second, or third division matches. Of course, we've covered second, third, and fourth, second, and third division matches, but I think the best of sports, you can only have it in the local football. And then looking at local football, this is where players get that generation, or they are generated from Novetan football to third division, second division, and to fourth division. This is where you have that grassroots football, that where you can develop players from grassroots, and then they will excel to the higher heights. So I tend to love the grassroots football, but of course, yes, looking at the third division is where players are also groomed, developed to second division, then to fourth division. Then fourth division in general, I think it is the highest level of Gambian football. Exactly. This is where players are scouted from divisional clubs to represent the Gambia either under 17, Chan team, national team, and other competitions. So I believe sports in the Gambia is just an interesting field. It is just an interesting field. If you start following sports, you wouldn't want to let it go.
Very well, Pa. Your perception of Gambian football, the development, you think still there room, or you feel, how do you feel about it?
Big Sam,
especially football.
Big Sam, we have a lot to work on as far as football is concerned in the Gambia, because you can never develop football if you don't have the infrastructure.
That's right.
You need to have an infrastructure first before you are able to play football. Looking at our divisional football, you know, sometimes the division or the competition will take that lengthy period. Thank God now we are having clubs developing their own sites. You know, already we have Hawks with their own field. We have Dutch Lions developing their own field, Real de Banjul having their own field. Of course, Brikama there is one. But without those clubs having their own football fields, these fields are very much congested.
Exactly.
Currently, in Banjul, the field is just horrible. You get to Bakau, sometimes I will tease these first division teams. I tell them, when going to Bakau, you have to look for the most combative players in your team to get to Bakau. You don't need those skillful players to play in Bakau, because the field is just horrible. It is very difficult to control the ball, move the ball. When we were covering Fortune Football Club extensively, they are very much comfortable coming to the Boxbar Mini Stadium to play that great possessive football. But when going to Bakau, they will use their combative players who will just run, kick, and then start running. So because the fields are just horrible. You know, you come to the Serekunda East, currently is a bit better. Serekunda West is a no-go area. Games are not being played at the Serekunda West Mini Stadium. And these are grounds, if they are developed, will develop our football. And even with these grounds, it is not even enough. It is not even enough, because at least every area in the Gambia should have their own football field, which should be accessible to players. With that, we should be able to develop football. Look at West Coast region, right from Fonyi, coming down to Brikama. There's only the Boxbar Mini Stadium. Only Boxbar Mini Stadium. The West Coast zonals, if you want to play, most of your games are played on local ground. Yeah. When you come to the Boxbar Mini Stadium, every player will want to play at the Boxbar Mini Stadium because of the ground is comfortable and they want to use the turf. So, looking at the semi-finals, just look at the crowds. If our divisional matches are able to give us such crowds, financially, probably we might not be struggling today. Because looking at the West Coast zonals, right from the semi-finals, the matches are hugely attended. They are hugely attended. So this is what is telling us that we need to develop our infrastructure. We need to have that infrastructure so that every player in the country will have access to play football. Soma, currently, when Real de Banjul played, what's the name of the team again?
Hearts
FC.
Hearts FC.
Just look at the turnout, because they want to see Real de Banjul for the first time. For the first time, Real de Banjul playing at the Soma Mini Stadium on an official match against Hearts FC. Just look at the turnout. And now, Hearts FC and Suwokono are turning doubters into believers that every area just have the infrastructure, we have human resource, and we will be able to excel as human beings. So if we are able to get mini parks, not maybe major ones, but mini parks across the length and breadth of the country, this will surely develop football. Currently, we have one in Gunjur. I'm not very much comfortable with their grass, because the grass is not very much good. So I believe also we need to invest into carpets rather than having the normal grass, because the one at the Gunjur Nyamina football field is not very good. Because with time, I think it will start having some issues. But I think what we need to develop as a country, we need to make sure we have the infrastructure. If we have the infrastructure, the football in the country will just get to another level.
That's right. I mean, they say football is played. It doesn't matter how you play it, but where you play it matters most. So I think the ground, I said that on my interview with Musangolo TV, that, well, we got the nod from the coach that this is far better than any other ground. So let's try to be there and also develop other grounds that will definitely put our... moving on, the Scorpions are out of the World Cup qualifiers after drawing with Kenya and then losing at home with the African champions, Ivory Coast. Then John McKinstry men will have to go back and then prepare for the AFCON. Of the qualifiers, yes, we all saw the games. You take part.
Yeah, I think one would say it was a bitter pill to swallow for the senior Scorpions, of course, because the ambition for every Gambian living at home and abroad is to get the team to World Cup. Initially, the plan was to get the team to AFCON, which wasn't possible. Then the next target was possibly to have the chance of playing the World Cup, but unfortunately, we could not progress. I think we still need to come down to the Kenya and the Ivory Coast game. I think the Kenya game is a game that we would have won, because we squandered opportunities, of course. Yes, Musa Barrow had the chance, squandered from the spot. From there on, he scored and scored again. At some point, we led 2-0. We squandered the advantage. Kenya coming from a goal down, coming from two goals down, and then get equaling the score. And at some point again, we led 3-2, and then all of a sudden, at the stroke of the entire minutes, we were also pegged back once again. That was indeed a bitter pill to swallow. But I think when the team was released, I said this on Star TV, and you talk to many of the Gambians, they will tell you, of course, this should be a very good squad, but there were eyebrows on the goalkeeping department and also the defense. I think defensively, the team has not been that much impressive, because looking at almost all the games that we've played, scoring is mostly not the problem. We will score, but how do we defend those goals? Defending those goals was the biggest problem. And looking at the Kenya game, we should have won that game convincingly. You know, we should have won Kenya by 3-0, 2-0, without them even scoring. But defensively, we were definitely poor. And looking at the Ivory Coast game yesterday, we thought we were going to have a very good game. Looking at Ivory Coast, I think looking at the performance, it was an improved performance compared to the Kenyan game. So the first half wasn't that very good, but second half I think the Gambia pushed so hard. But also we need to work on scoring chances. Our chances, we got chances, but utilizing those chances were our biggest problems. I think yesterday's game, at least we should have secured a draw. At least a draw. Definitely. We should have secured a draw against the Ivory Coast. Of course, you know, on paper, they are by far, they are the African champions, and then Gambia is not a match to Ivory Coast. But looking at yesterday's game, I think we deserve at least a point from the Ivory Coast game.
Obviously, especially the second half, and a lot of chances have fell into the boys, but they couldn't turn that into results. Well, Pat, before we go, generally, in Gambian football, what's your message? I mean, it could be to the players. I know stakeholders have a lot too, because we give them all those terms, stakeholders, players, and even the journalists. What's your message?
Yeah, I think I have to start with our own selves, that is the media. I think the media is definitely doing a fantastic job. Because initially, it is very challenging to watch a live game in the Gambia. But now when you go to most of the local grounds, it is not a problem. And committees and communities are making sure that people know what is really happening in their respective grounds. And the other thing that is affecting the media is when the Gambia is playing, for instance. Gambians tend to struggle a bit in having access to watch their team play. So, and I believe the federation needs to work on that to make sure a team is sent when the country is playing, to make sure the match is broadcasted rather than relying on other media outlets for the broadcast. I think this is an area that the federation needs to work on. But as far as the media is concerned in the Gambia, I think the media is definitely doing a fantastic job when it comes to sports, most especially football. Football, you go to most of the areas now, it's been broadcasted, and then you look at the third division, some of the games are being broadcasted, second division equally, fourth division, currently there is that partnership between FIFA Plus and Gambia Football Federation. Kudos to the federation, and now people are having the access to watch football, though sometimes it is a challenge to be able to connect here and there, but I think we have to commend the federation for doing that as well. But also for the development of football, I said it here, we have to work on the infrastructure. We have to work on the infrastructure, and also our players they definitely need to be hungry. It is not all about just playing the beautiful game of football. When I look at the likes of Yankuba Minte, I see that hunger in those players. When they are playing, they want to die for the country. They also want to achieve something, because Yankuba, of course, yes, he is playing at one of the highest level as far as football is concerned. Playing in the Premier League is a very big challenge. Myself and some other people, when we heard that Yankuba Minte was going to have the chance to play in the Premier League, to me, he was going to struggle. But he was able to defy the odds, and currently Yankuba is one of the finest players for Brighton and Hove Albion. And then nobody knows, he might spend 1 year, 2 years, and then bigger clubs might try to get him off Brighton and Hove Albion. I'm not expecting him to stay that long with Brighton and Hove Albion. So the message that I want to get to every player in the Gambia, a few years ago, Yankuba Minte was playing Nowetan here. Few years ago, he was playing 4th division in the Gambia. All of a sudden, he moved up the Gambia, and he's now giving names for himself. He has already given names for himself. And Yankuba Minte can get to any level. So any player playing in the Nowetan can be Yankuba Minte. With determination, hard work, you'll be able to get to Yankuba Minte. You'll be able to get to the likes of Musa Barrow, who once played in Syria and now playing in the Saudi Pro League, and any other player that played for the senior national team. So the message to the younger players is have the determination, have the courage that, of course, yes, this is what I want to do, and then you will excel, and then you will reach the highest echelon as far as the sport is concerned. So Gambian football, we have talent. Talent is not our problem. Let's work on our infrastructure. Let's just be determined, and then make sure we improve on the areas that we need to improve. Football in the Gambia and sports in general will get to another level, Big Sam.
That's Parliament Fatty, of course, it's Sport 360 Light. That is what we got. But before we go, maybe finally you have something for my viewers or people out there, or any other thing that you want.
Yeah, before Big Sam, before letting you go, I just want to, I wouldn't be fair to myself if I don't talk about the late Maud Lamin Sanyang charity. Exactly.
That's exactly.
Of course, Maud Lamin, we all know, is a colleague of ours who passed away not long ago on the 7th of this month after having a tragic road accident. Unfortunately, he lost his life. So after that, I think few of our colleagues came together and said, okay, we want to have a fundraiser. We had the fundraiser through the Wave account, and then thank God we were able to secure $115,000 that was presented to the family, and special thanks to SJAG and Star TV and Radio for their coordination, and my very own team for making sure we are able to raise that. And not only that, we wouldn't have reached that height without the support of the entire Gambians, and the support of the entire country came through the determination, hard work and dedication of the late brother Maud Lamin Sanyang. Of course, yes, he devoted his time and every energy for these beautiful sports, most especially football. So currently, after the presentation, we are now working on a charity match, and this charity match is going to be played on the Thursday on the 3rd of April 2025, and we have the intention of having the first charity match in Kombo South, and Kombo South is going to host 2 of the charity matches, one in Batokunku between Tujareng and Tanje. The reason why Batokunku, because initially the plan was to play it in Sanyang, but Tanje and Tujareng said, okay, Batokunku is in the middle. Tanje can easily walk, even without getting transport. They can easily walk to Batokunku. Equally, Tujareng can also do. So we accepted and then moved the game to Batokunku, and then we're going to have that on the 3rd of April 2025. And we are now calling on all Gambians to come to our aid. We want to make sure we have the biggest turnout as far as the charity match is concerned. And currently, we've also had an agreement with Gunjur and Sanyang, and the Gunjur and Sanyang initially, we had the plan of playing it in Gunjur at the Nyamina Mini Stadium, but now we have now shifted the game to Sanyang football field, where we will have Gunjur and Sanyang playing in the second match. We also have plans to get one at the Boxbar Mini Stadium. We spoke to Brikama Sports Committee, and we are currently in communication to make sure we are able to get a date to play another fundraising for his family at the Boxbar. And after the Boxbar, we're also going to have one in Makumbaya. Makumbaya is where Mudlamin Sanyang resides, around the area, because he's from Kunkujang Jataya. Makumbaya is around that area. Galoya and all the surrounding communities will come together to have a massive charity march. So we want people to come to our aid. We want people to come together to make sure we raise as much money as possible for the family of the late brother, a colleague who has devoted time, energy and everything for this beautiful sports. So this is where I just want to say, before letting you go also, I also want to send my sincere commendation and appreciation to Atlantic TV for giving me the opportunity. I never had the belief I was going to be here. So when Big Sam contacted, you are my next guest, I said, wow. Anyway, I need to give it a try. So special thanks to Big Sam, the entire team of Atlantic TV, and then all those following us live on LSTV1. The reason why I am calling myself Party journalist is not because of my achievements, it's because people believe in what we are doing, and then they are also following. This is why we are there, and gradually we will be able to reach the height. So on that note, special thanks to all the viewers of Atlantic TV as well. And then I am also urging every viewer to keep subscribing and keep following this great program. I am a fan of this program. Hardly I comment, but I watch almost every program on this platform.
Especially
so
the
360 sports. So on that
and
note,
the Amadou Tamba one, you definitely
exactly. So I was watching. I watch a lot of programs here. So on that note, I want to give a very big tap on the shoulder of the management of Atlantic TV, the host, my very own colleague, brother, and mentor Big Sam, and all those colleagues are present here. Big Sam, I think this is where we're going to draw the curtain. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pa. I'm so happy for having you here.
Thank you.
And inshallah, we'll also be covering the charity game, I promise you that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
That is it. That was Sport 360 Live on Sunday. I know you got the wonderful one from the main man, Pa Lamin Fatty LSTV. Thanks for coming. And of course, big thanks to my viewers out there. We'll be back next Sunday and give you the best of sports. Meanwhile, thanks to the cameraman right here working tirelessly, Edu, Aliu, and maybe they have a apparent by the name Usman here. And of course, Rockaway International. Thank you so much, And of course, on that note, keep on sporting.